For the last decade, the automotive world has been gripped by a singular obsession. The narrative was written in stone. The internal combustion engine is dead. The future belongs to the battery. Tesla became the world's most valuable automaker. BYD flooded the East. Governments and investors poured billions into a race where the finish line was total electrification. But in the shadows of this electric gold rush, one giant refused to run. Honda, a company built on the legacy of engines, stayed silent. They didn't chase the hype. They didn't overpromise. To the casual observer, it looked like hesitation. It looked like they were losing. But they weren't stalling. They were watching. They saw the cracks in the electric dream that others chose to ignore. And now, they have revealed a piece of technology that challenges the timeline of the EV revolution. It is not just an engine. It is a recalibration, a bet that the path to zero emissions is longer and more winding than the industry wants to admit. Tonight, we investigate Honda's silent strike. How a unique hybrid architecture is exposing the vulnerabilities of the electric transition, and why the future of mobility might arrive later than promised. To understand Honda's strategy, we must first look at the blind spot of the EV industry. While the technology is brilliant, the infrastructure of the real world has failed to keep pace. The reality of electric ownership can be starkly different from the brochure. In extreme cold to deep freeze of a Minnesota winter, or a Scandinavian night, lithium-ion chemistry slows down, slashing range by up to 40% in worst-case conditions. In dense urban centers from Tokyo to Mumbai, where apartment living dominates, the inability to charge at home turns car ownership into a logistical puzzle. And then, there's the concern of battery degradation over time, a factor that still worries buyers, even as modern battery chemistry continues to improve. Honda realized that for millions of drivers, particularly in emerging markets, the EV wasn't yet a complete solution. It was a compromise. They gambled on a simple truth. Human beings resist friction. We want the green future, but mass adoption requires a path that doesn't demand sacrifice. So while the world built chargers, Honda built a bridge. To be clear, Honda did not invent the hybrid. Toyota pioneered the concept over 2 decades ago and still dominates global hybrid sales today. But Honda has refined a distinct approach, one that reimagines how the combustion engine and electric motor work together. And the difference is more than incremental. The solution Honda developed is not a standard hybrid. It is a radical departure from the combustion engines we have known for a century. They call it the EHEF system. In a traditional car, the engine turns the wheels through a complex gearbox. In Honda's new architecture, the engine often does nothing of the sort. Think of it as an electric vehicle that carries its own power plant. At city speeds, the petrol engine disconnects from the wheels entirely. It acts purely as a generator, humming quietly in the background to feed electricity to the traction motor. You get the instant torque and refined silence of an EV, without the range anxiety. But here is where the engineering becomes elegant. Electric motors lose efficiency at sustained high speeds. Petrol engines thrive there. So, when this vehicle hits the highway and enters a specific cruising window, a dedicated clutch engages. The system physically locks the petrol engine directly to the wheels. No traditional multi-gear transmission. No wasted energy from constant shifting. It is a symbiotic relationship. 2 distinct power sources handing off control seamlessly, managed by a computer brain that makes thousands of decisions per second. Regenerative braking captures kinetic energy during deceleration, recycling it back into the system. It is a closed loop of efficiency. The result? A vehicle that supplements its own charge. A machine that demands nothing from the grid. It delivers a driving experience that feels remarkably modern. Innovation means nothing if it isn't affordable. And this is where the EV transition faces its steepest climb. Cost. The entry price for a reliable long-range EV remains challenging for much of the global middle class. While battery prices have fallen dramatically over the past decade, out-of-warranty battery replacements on older or budget EVs can still reach $8,000 to $15,000, a significant expense that weighs on resale values and buyer confidence. Add to that the variability of electricity prices in some regions, and the total cost of ownership becomes harder to predict. Honda's hybrid system utilizes a much smaller, durable battery pack. It is designed to never be plugged in, and its charge cycles are managed by the onboard computer to prevent the deep discharge patterns that accelerate wear. The maintenance requirements are minimal, no different from a conventional car. The fuel economy is impressive, reaching up to 27 kilometers per liter under optimal city testing conditions, with real-world figures typically ranging from 18 to 22. It is the democratization of efficiency. You do not need a garage with a high-voltage outlet. You do not need to plan your commute around charging infrastructure. You just drive. But let us pause here, because there is another side to this story, one that Honda's critics are eager to tell. The skeptic's case is simple. Honda did not choose this path out of strategic brilliance. They were simply slow. While Tesla scaled production and BYD captured China, Honda scrambled to catch up. Their first serious EV efforts, the Honda Prologue and the upcoming Zero Series, are arriving years behind competitors. The partnership with General Motors on battery technology was a tacit admission that they couldn't go it alone. And here is the critical context. Honda is not betting against electric vehicles. They have committed to full electrification by 2040. They are investing billions in EV development and battery production. The hybrid push is not a permanent alternative. It is, by Honda's own admission, a transitional strategy. Moreover, hybrids are not zero-emission vehicles. They still burn petrol. They still produce tailpipe carbon dioxide. In a world facing climate deadlines, some argue that promoting hybrids is simply delaying the inevitable, or worse, providing cover for continued fossil fuel dependency. So which narrative is true? Is Honda playing chess while others play checkers, or are they simply selling what they have while racing to build what they need? The answer may be both. Regardless of corporate strategy, the market has rendered its own verdict. In 2023 and 2024, while EV inventory began to accumulate on dealer lots in the United States and Europe as high interest rates and charging anxiety cooled demand, hybrid sales surged. Honda's silent strike is landing. The Civic Hybrid, the CR-V, the Accord, these models are capturing the drivers who want efficiency but remain skeptical of full electrification. Honda didn't try to change human behavior overnight. They engineered a car that fits human nature as it exists today. But the clock is ticking. The European Union has mandated that new combustion vehicles, including hybrids, cannot be sold after 2035. California has set the same deadline. Other nations are following. Whatever bridge Honda has built, there is a fixed point where it ends. Does this mean the electric vehicle is a failure? Far from it. The transition to electric is coming. But the timeline that was promised, the imminent death of the combustion engine, was a fantasy. Honda's position is that the road to 2050 is not a straight line, but a complex curve. We will see hybrids dominate the next decade. We will see EVs scale as infrastructure and battery costs mature. And eventually, perhaps, hydrogen will find its role. The future is not a single technology. It is a portfolio. While the hare sprinted ahead, the tortoise studied the terrain. Honda has proven that in the race for the future, speed is not everything. Sometimes the most strategic move is not to arrive first, but to make sure you can finish the race at all. Whether this is visionary patience or convenient excuse, only the next decade will tell. But for now, the silence is broken, and the market is listening.